Good morning. My name is David Malmuth, and I'm a partner in Idea Partners. And I'd like to thank Naomi and Patricia for inviting me to participate, particularly given that the project that I'm going to describe is downtown, and of all things, I'm a real estate developer. Who would have ever expected a real estate developer to be talking about the value of art? But I am a believer. My career of over 30 years convinces me of the power of art as a placemaking tool and as an economic driver. And moreover, you know, when you do real estate development, you spend oftentimes 5, 6, 7 years doing a project. I frankly don't want to be involved in a project unless it makes an artistic expression. It's just something that drives me and propels me to try to do work that I think is really going to add value to the community. So it has a very personal meaning to me, in addition to, I think, enhancing the quality of our work. I'm going to talk about Idea District. How many of you have heard that term, Idea District? Some of you, okay. Well, so this was an invention that my partner Pete Garcia and I came up with 7 years ago. We decided that if downtown San Diego was going to be competitive in terms of attracting talent, it needed to create a place that would be a magnet for that talent. And there were 4 essential pillars to becoming that magnet: innovation, design, education, and arts. And happily, if you take the first letter of each of those words, you come up with idea. And so we called it Idea District. It was somewhat audacious to create this because we didn't own any land in this 90 acres that we identified as Idea District. We didn't have any tenants. We actually didn't have any money. So that's not usually a great recipe for success in the real estate development business. Nevertheless, we did have an idea. John was involved from the very outset, so he's watched the evolution. And you know, it's interesting, when you don't have all of those benefits, you approach real estate development in a very different way. We didn't do a master plan. That would have been presumptuous. We did a master vision because we couldn't dictate anything to anybody. And we created something that we thought was aspirational and inspirational. We created a vision document for Idea District. It's on our website right now. And it really outlines why we think this combination of innovation, design, education, arts is really the essential elements to creating a healthy, vibrant, sustainable urban place. And I should also be very clear that we did not start this to create an arts district. We did this to create an economic development engine for downtown San Diego. It's very different. Arts is a piece of that, but it wasn't the only piece of that. And in some ways, we really haven't been very successful, to be candid. You know, what we want to do is to create a place that grows jobs in downtown. Because as somebody said earlier, it's really about jobs. It's about creating clean, high-paying jobs. 21st century is about creating jobs at that nexus of design and technology that's going to grow the prosperity of a region. There's some very good research that identifies what makes for prosperous cities and regions. It's the ability to attract and retain highly educated 25 to 35-year-olds. That explains about 70% of what's going to drive the prosperity of a region. And in order to do that, you need to create the conditions that will draw that kind of person, because that person is the magnet for the companies that want that talent, because that is the race all of us are in the 21st century. It's a race for talent. So that's why we started Idea District. Now in our first project, I'll show you some pictures of Idea 1. We have attracted a tenant, but largely we're in the Upper East Village. It's been extremely difficult to attract tenants to downtown San Diego. We need to do better. We are, by the way, I think some of you know, taking a run at Amazon. How many of you read about the HQ2 competition? The chance that San Diego is going to land Amazon is slim, but it is absolutely worthy to go after this, because what it'll force us to do as a city, as a region, is to really to look at our assets and to figure out what is our story. What is the pitch that we're making to the companies that are growing in the 21st century? Why should they want to be in San Diego? So maybe we don't get Amazon. Probably we don't. But other big companies and maybe some medium-sized companies are going to look at that competition and say, gee, San Diego's got a great pitch, a lot of great assets. Maybe we'll be interested in growing 500,000 square feet or 1 million square feet, which could mean thousands, tens of thousands of jobs for the region. So we're excited about that. And it's a conversation, frankly, 7 years ago was not happening. Nobody was talking about jobs in downtown. They're talking about building more residential. Because we've been very successful at building 15,000 residential units. And over that same 15-year period, we grew exactly 0 net jobs in downtown. Now that's starting to shift, but it's only shifting because there's a lot of intention around the idea of using downtown as a mechanism to try to grow the prosperity of the region, not just creating housing for second and third homes. So anyway, with that diatribe, let me talk about Idea One. This is our first project. While we've been proselytizing about Idea District, we've also been doing some real estate development. We tied up a site 3 years ago. It's a site that's owned by the San Diego Community College District. We've created a project that's 295 residential units and 8,000 square feet of commercial space and a couple of restaurants, and it has a very significant commitment to arts. We've spent $250,000 commissioning 6 major art pieces and 2 art installations. And oh, by the way, City of San Diego, there is no requirement to do art, which is completely backward. The city should be requiring that developers, private developers and public projects should be setting aside something to do art. That's true of every other city that I've worked in, and including Los Angeles, where I did Hollywood and Highland, and we created some fantastic pieces, including Erica Rothenberg's piece called The Road to Hollywood, which is one of the best public art pieces in the city of Los Angeles. But I digress. So anyway, so let me walk you through Idea One. We'll start with some exterior images. So this is actually 3 buildings. One of the things that we dislike about most full block projects is they all feel like one project. Well, we wanted this to feel like a series of nested projects. And one of the things we've noticed in innovation districts is that oftentimes they cluster around old buildings. Well, we didn't have any old great warehouses in downtown San Diego, so we built a building that looks like a great warehouse. So this concrete building that you see here actually looks like a 50-year-old warehouse building, and so we attached a sign that looks like a 50-year-old sign to it. By the way, the project's not open yet. It opens in 3 weeks. It's substantially done, and the pictures I'm going to show you will walk you through the project. Unfortunately, there's no people in them, so I hate showing architectural pictures, but you know, it is what it is. So you'll excuse the fact that they really just look like they were shot by an architect. So let me walk you through. Here's the concrete building. This block is bounded by EF Park and 13, just north of the new school, and Idea District is the upper eastern quadrant of East Village and downtown. So this is right in the heart of Idea District. This is commercial at the lower floors and then residential up above. And we actually built this to be an office building, but since we couldn't find office tenants for the upper floors, we converted those to loft spaces. And our hope is over time that the building will be many things. It could be creative office in its next incarnation. It could be light manufacturing. Who knows what it can be? But if you look at Soho, for example, if you look at great buildings, they're very flexible and they can become many things. We've become obsessed as a real estate community with doing single-use buildings, which is absolutely the wrong way to build great cities. So anyway, we're trying to do something here that can adapt as the market changes. So moving around the building, you'll also notice, this is the elevation facing 13th Street, that the building has completely different elevations on each side. This is also to get away from the notion of a project. This is a different elevation facing the trolley, right? We're on the trolley, so we did homage to the trolley by using this red material. You'll see it even more prominently here in this elevation. And then we also built this kind of crazy water tower feature up at the top there. We wanted to create something that could be fun and iconic. That almost happens to be a hot tub. So at the second level, yeah, it is. So at the second level on the amenity deck, you have to enter into this infinity hot tub. So it's really cool. It's got fantastic views of East Village. So one of the pieces that we did, which we don't think has ever been done before, is this, we call it a green ceiling. And this is an art installation that was done with our landscape architect. These are all air plants. So we hung these air plants on the ceiling. This is the underside of the lid on the podium deck. So these are up about 20 feet. And they're done in this beautiful wave pattern that goes all the way from the street, comes all the way out to the street, goes all the way into the hub, which is the gathering space. And embedded underneath that slab are misters and also grow lights. And it's really quite beautiful because these little plants, they sort of dance in the breeze. They're on these little wires. And it's really a showstopper. People walk by or they drive by and they look up and they say, well, what is that? We said, well, you know, the city told us we needed 2,200 square feet of landscaping. We didn't want to do it in a permanent fashion. We asked if we could do a green wall. They said, no, it has to be a horizontal, not a vertical surface. I said, well, what about a green ceiling? And they said, well, okay. And then we had to go figure out what a green ceiling was. So anyway, this is what we came up with. It's really quite beautiful, and over time these plants will grow together, and so you'll get this gorgeous green carpet effect as you enter. On the left-hand side is a major art installation, 14 feet by 40 feet. I'll show you the piece. In fact, you're the first group to see any of the art. We've been very secretive about it, but I'm going to show you the piece that's going there. I see it, John. Thank you. I see it. I see it. All right, this is the hub. This is the main social gathering space. It's really a stage. It's a 12,000 square foot stage in the middle of the project. It has 3 big paseos that lead into it. We don't have a private courtyard. We have a public gathering space. It's very intentional. We're working with a number of different performance groups to be able to activate this space. But you know what? It's the residents of this community that will ultimately decide how they want to make this stage come to life. And on the left-hand side where you enter into those units, that's a grid. But we didn't do the grid overhead, we did the grid vertically, so we can put lights and sound on that, and we can create what we think is going to be a really stunning theatrical experience. The thing you see in the front is called the Idea Box. It's also a projection screen, so we rear project onto that magic glass, which is called smart glass. It's got 2 big speaker stacks, so it's a big screen, 10 feet by 17 feet, and it has an absolutely awesome image. Another view of the hub, festoon lights, more, oh, here's the hot tub. You can see it with water in it. It's very cool, yeah. There's the wall, and this is the other major, there's 6 pieces, 2 big ones. This is the art wall on the north side of the project. This is 40 feet wide by 50 feet tall. And here's a night shot. So this is the piece, this is Natalie Linnes. This is the piece that's going to happen on that Paseo entry, 14 feet by 40 feet. She's an artist out of Cleveland. Oh, by the way, all the art is impermanent. Every piece is going to change. So we've created a budget not just for the first installation, but also to change the art. And that's very intentional. So we want to give more artists an opportunity to display the work. This is James Rika. James is an Australian artist. He lives in Berlin right now. This is the mural that he is doing on the north side, which is 40 feet by 50 feet. It's fantastic. So when we unveil that, we think it's going to be just spectacular. Cy Kuchenbaker, you guys know Cy. Cy is a local artist. This is a backlit piece that's going up on the amenity deck, which we think is going to be sensational. There's also a great projection piece by Alana Kaplan. San Diego Letters is doing another piece. So we have a great stable for the first group, and we're looking forward to being able to change the work over time so that we get a chance to highlight all the amazing artistic talent in San Diego. So more to say, but John's going to kick me off the stage. Thanks very much.